Hello friends, welcome back to another Value Vintage Cards video. Wanted to just kind of pause and record a video to celebrate and show gratitude and thankfulness for reaching that next tier, hitting 400 subscribers on the channel. So thank you all so much for all the support, all the encouragement, all the likes and comments and engagement. I really do appreciate it. What a just fantastic community, and it's fun to see how many folks either are interested or just aligned with how I collect, how I do things, and share the same interests. So makes the hobby world a little more close, even though we don't always have folks in our backyard that are similar. YouTube kind of brings us a little bit closer together, so much appreciated. And one of the things I was thinking about was, when I was looking at 400 being close and 400, finally, kind of crossing that finish line, had a very kind shout out from Mark, Dodgers Cards, and Orlando, gave my, channel a share on his page as well. And, encourage his folks to support. So I really do appreciate that. That kind of support is always, wonderful and helpful and, appreciated. So, but 400 is such a magical number for baseball fans, because that's always kind of that elusive, epic, batting average. So one of the things I thought I would do to kind of, honor the 400 number and celebrate a little bit was to, review some of the 400 hitters I have in my collection. And I believe I have maybe 11, something like that. So I thought I would share. I think all but one, maybe all but two are playing days. And then it's not going to be the same year they did it. So somebody like Hugh Duffy, he hit, 440 in 1894. I don't have an 1894 Hugh Duffy. I don't know if it exists, let's be honest. It's kind of tough for back then. But I do have a T206 Hugh Duffy card. So I thought I would just kind of, give celebration to all the 400 hitters. That's such a magical number. So Hugh Duffy. And that one actually is neat because it's one of the few rare backs I have from the T206 set. So that's the Tolstoy back. So Hugh Duffy is the first 400 hitter I have in my collection. There's a few others from back in that era that I would love to pick up. Sam Thompson, Billy Hamilton, which it's tough to even find Billy Hamilton because you usually end up getting the base stealer from more recent history. That's not the Billy Hamilton that hit 400, obviously, back in the 1890s. So Ed Delahanty would be another one. Missing some of those. Jesse Burkett. Don't have anything of him. But the next one that did it, Huey Jennings. One of the, if we ever do a Mount Rushmore episode of biggest characters of the game, his story, his behavior, his everything would definitely qualify. Jennings hit 401 in 1896. So it's been a minute. Next up, I have a couple of his cards. Literally a couple, I think two. But I thought I'd share one that I can't remember if I shared this or not. That was an auction pickup. And sometimes when you see the auctions, you get these tougher to find cards. And they're in rough condition. So that's a rougher one, but I thought it was still presented, given the fact there's some, missing portion of the card, I thought it still presented pretty well. The back's dirty but intact. I think these portraits with these, just brilliant colors back in the day were so cool. So Willie Keeler, if it's harder to read, that's an E90-1. E90 is such a neat set because you get the -1s and -3s. So that's an E90-1 variation. 1897, he hit 424. So not too bad. Now we're finally jumping into the 1900s. So 1901, we had Nap Lajoie hitting 426. Nap also has an interesting story. He was so beloved they eventually went by the Cleveland Naps for the team name. So this one's been trimmed apparently, at least according to SGC, but that card presents fantastically. So it's one of those, if they say it's been altered, I guess it's been altered, but I'm definitely happy to have something that looks like that in the collection. Knapp is epic. He's top 5 second baseman, I guess we'll safely say, and then we can debate where he falls. But yeah, pretty important character in history. Good rival to Ty Cobb, whether you wanted to be or not. I think the players of the day preferred his personality and character over Cobb's for sure. So kind of interesting. All right, this next player actually did this 3 times, I believe. 1911, he hit 419. 1912, he hit 409. That's a pretty good back-to-back year. And then he must have been slacking off. He didn't hit 401 again until 422. So hit a tough stretch there. I guess he had some down years maybe. But this is an E90-1 again. It's one of the images I really liked of his. But you can never go wrong with a Ty Cobb card. So 3-time 400 hitter. And it almost feels like you should have done it more. You got to be hitting some 400 years when your career average is 366. So, does anyone else remember? I swear when I was a kid, they always said 367. I know they update stats and seasons get altered and different things change, but I mean, I feel like I always remember him being a 367 guy, and then 366 became the standard when I became an adult, I think. So maybe they just updated a couple years and said, your 385 was only 381 or something, or they found an extra game stats, or I don't know, but kind of interesting. But that's a cool one, E90-1. Ty Cobb, I like that kind of like batting pose look to it. So next up, also 1911. How about this? You get 408 and don't win the batting title. And this is one of the players, I don't know if, I think Jennings might also have been post-playing days, but this one is definitely post-playing days, not even trying to pretend it's not. But Shoeless Joe, even though that one's a post-playing day, this is still kind of an epically tracked. Some folks don't like post-playing days. I think all of us kind of classify it differently. We wish it was a playing days card. I'll have to buck up because it's going to be 3 times the cost of this, and this wasn't cheap to pick up a playing day Shoeless Joe, but it's on the longer term list. That's just not one you log in and put in the cart right away. It's going to take a minute. So, but obviously Shoeless Joe has another really interesting story. So, next up, 1920, we have a player that hit 407, and in 22 he hit 420. And if you watch my channel, I have a few of those to choose from because he is absolutely top of my list. Favorite players, Mr. Geo George Sisler. The hunt continues for the Grail, which would look identical to that, but have a slightly different identification. So this is a 1916 Sporting News M101-4. The M101-5, the only difference we would notice there would be at the bottom. Instead of saying first base, kind of closest to my finger there, it would identify him as a pitcher. He was a pitcher initially. Coolest stat, he not only hit 400 twice, but he also was 2-0 pitching against Walter Johnson. So, not a bad player. Kind of fun to see those, interesting early career guys that were probably coming up learning both ways and pitching and hitting almost with equal skill. And then they have to pick a path. Sometimes they just did both. So kind of amazing. 1922, next up, we have a gentleman that hit 401. And I know he did this more than once. 1924, he hit 424. 1925, he hit 403. I guess that's it. What a slacker, only 3 times. Oh well, I guess we'll keep him around anyway. So, not too bad. Another guy I collect pretty heavily. I don't think I've shared my Hornsby collection in full, but little by little I'm revealing some of what I have. So that's a really popular pose for him. You see that one hand bat on the shoulder. I feel like he looks like he's like a mobster with a gun. Like he just looks so intimidating. You know he's going to use that thing and destroy some pitcher's day for sure. That's a 1928 Yuenglings Ice Cream. As Mike Petty would say, it's a yum yum. So Rogers Hornsby, that's in a 3. You know, these older cards, a lot of these are, you know, hand cuts and whatnot, so sometimes the grades are less significant than how it presents, and that one presents pretty gosh darn nice. So happy to have that one. You will see that pose and even that size and that everything looking very similar, because there's a whole bunch of cards that have kind of a similar release for that time. So that's another 3-time 400 hitter. We're going to jump all the way to, let me find my next gentleman, make sure I've got him in order here. Maybe he did it somewhere within the mix of, there we go, 1923. I almost overshot because Hornsby was doing it kind of all around his accomplishment. So 1923, this gentleman hit 403, which he would be the, I guess, next to last right-handed hitter to hit 400. He's the last right-handed American leaguer to hit 400. That's getting, you know. He also likes chocolate ice cream on Wednesdays after 7 o'clock, but, you know, you got some of those obscure statistics and goofy things that we do in baseball. When the humidity's this degree on a weeknight and he did his math homework, he hits a lot of doubles. I don't know. But kind of a cool card. So I have this whole little mini set. There's 4 of them. There's Al Simmons, Lazzeri, and the big one's Gehrig. But W565, another hand cut. Harry Heilmann, another like 340 career hitter that we just overlook. He didn't hit some of those magical, you know, 3,000 hit numbers. He wasn't a big home run guy, so he just kind of gets, you know, lost in the shuffle of 340 hitters from that era. But pretty amazing career. So Harry Heilmann, again, made that 1923 run, hit 403, and then kind of had, I mean, there's a lot of players. I'm scrolling through the list. 1930 would be our last National League 400 hitter, and that would be Mr. Bill Terry. I absolutely love that card. You know, strip cards, I know some people are not in love with. There's some other Bill Terry cards I have that are fantastic, but you know, this one's authentic. Minimum size not met. I mean, it's hand cut. I'm surprised I didn't see evidence of trimming. I mean, ridiculous. So minimum size not met. Oh well, that thing is cut fantastically. That's about as good a card as you're going to get. So I guess had we kept another 17th of an inch somewhere, we would have had a 7 grade on our hands, but oh well. What I love about this is, it says Giants first baseman, but they show his nickname, which I don't see that very often. Smiling Bill Terry. But I enjoy folks that are happy. I think, you know, if your nickname is Smiling, that says a lot about who you are. I don't know that he was always regarded as easy to get along with his managers and things, but really another player, if you dive into his career and read about, you know, playing days, managing days, time with the Giants, McGraw, interactions, things like that. Really interesting stories. And then our last one is the last MLB-er, the next to last professional, I guess we would say. Josh Gibson had a season in 1943 where he hit over 400. But the last MLB player to do so is 1941. Ted Williams hit 406. I think I've shown this before somewhere, but it's been a minute, so what the heck. I guess you can never see enough 1939 play ball Ted Williams cards, right? So, it's such a classic image, card, everything. 39 play ball. That's graded as a pour. Let's see if it'll allow me to show, but there is a pinhole. And I know there's a few pinhole collectors. There it is. It's kind of right in line with his leg, right there. That's about the least offensive thing you could put on that card. And again, if you're going to criticize centering and things like that, you have a very different budget and hobby goal than I do. To me, that card looks fantastic. I will take that all day. I would not have afforded it had it been no pinhole, and if you want to criticize corners and centering and all that stuff, then again, you're shopping in a different world than I am. I was just thrilled to pick this up at all. So the pinhole is somewhere around here. I mean, it doesn't even impact the back, really, in terms of enjoyment and reading and seeing. So that is my Teddy Ball Game Splendid Splinter rookie card. Our last MLB 400 hitter. Again, not the last professional, but Josh Gibson, you're not going to pick up a playing day card of his. I think there's like one, if it's even playing days. And, all his stuff, even his 80s, 90s, 70s issues now are through the roof because he's finally getting the appreciation he deserves. But I don't have anything really of his except for maybe in the 2000s. So unfortunately, I didn't want to pull that and pretend like that counted as anything. So that's my 400 hitters run through. Again, so much appreciation and gratitude for the community for the support and encouragement, and 400 subs and on we go. 500's got a magical ring to it, so I'll do my best to represent and make that fun as well, and off we go. Hope that's fun. It's my 400 hitters. Let me know anybody else that you might have, and if you see any of those, Billy Hamiltons or anything like that available, let me know. They're on my list. See you guys next time. Take care.